Hello and welcome to Second Chances. On this show, we bring you inspirational stories of people who've been able to turn trauma or tragedy into empowering opportunities for themselves and others. Some are survivors of unimaginable trauma, while others have felt the need to make brave changes. But in all cases, these people are making a positive impact on the lives of others. Their stories are meant to help you stay hopeful, believe there is good in the world, and find the strength to go on. Amid the chaos engulfing Zimbabwe in the early 2000s, emerged a heartwarming story of love, compassion and purpose. Evicted landowners Mandy and Pat Retzlaff found themselves forced into new beginnings in an unexpected way. Their journey led them to Mozambique, a new home with a new calling and a second chance.
We will fight the white man. We will fight until the last of us falls naked with nothing.
Imagine losing everything you've spent years, even decades, working hard for and building on the whim of a dictator. That's exactly what happened to thousands of white farmers when Zimbabwe's ZANU-PF, under the rule of Robert Mugabe, implemented a land reform program over 20 years ago. The country was in flames and the chaos was spreading quickly. It was terrifying for most as war veterans and their followers marched onto white-owned farmland, forcibly evicting the owners and workers. Thousands of people saw their livelihoods and lives going up in flames before their very eyes. Among them, Mandy and Pat Retzlaff, who, faced with great danger themselves, thought beyond their own safety.
So it starts in Zimbabwe in 2000, really, when Robert Mugabe had a opposition, and the land invasions started in about 2001.
The local people knew possibly more that was going on. You know, we were very apolitical after that. And stupidly, we had our heads in the sand, and we weren't taking notice of the politics, so no, we didn't really know what was going to happen.
It was an agricultural economy. He decided that he'd have to take over the land.
This is part of Zimbabwe's land reform scheme known as A1 and follows the chaotic 2002 land invasions, which saw about 4,000 white commercial farmers driven off their farms. Some were killed, others fled to cities and neighboring countries.
So there was the murder of Dave Stevens, and that shocked everybody. And then there were the actual invasions, where you woke up one morning and there was just a crowd of people outside the gate. In our instance, our neighbours were barricaded in their house with their two small children for a really, really long time. You know, they obviously thought that they were going to be killed.
We were surrounded one day, and they came. We knew them, obviously, they were people around us, and they said, sorry, you know, but we're being forced to do this.
It was the savagery of it. I mean, you know, they seem to have a good insight into sort of what we would find abhorrent, you know, that...
One was chopping down trees, your favourite tree.
Or shooting
because they knew we loved trees, so, yeah, shooting animals.
Your dog, you know, your cat strung up on a...
cutting your trees down.
You know, so it was totally horrific.
While most people grabbed their loved ones and possessions when fleeing, Mandy and Pat went to great lengths to rescue over 400 horses from various farms and give them a second chance at survival. The couple, whose own futures were uncertain, bravely went in search of the horses that had been abandoned in the chaos. Using their own money and resources, they were determined to get these beautiful animals to safety and away from certain death.
How the horse collection started was that at the neighbours that were barricaded in, Shah and Tesha Keldenhuis, Pat and Shah went back to the farm 12 weeks later, and there was absolutely nothing left. But our 6 horses were recovered from a worker had looked after them, and Shah managed to recover some of his horses that hadn't been injured, and that's how this collection of horses started. There were so many abandoned horses, or so many people who needed to give their horses to somebody.
There were 5,000 farms in Zim, and most farms would have 2 or 3 horses on. So probably 10 to 15,000 horses that suddenly needed a home.
But as they say, no good deed goes unpunished. Mandy and Pat had more than a few hurdles to face in their efforts to rescue these horses. But that didn't deter them. With the help of some other good Samaritans and a little bit of luck along the way, they made it.
We ended up being known in Zim as the people who were collecting horses. And the invasions actually took 3 or 4 years. It wasn't over the whole country. And some were given to us, transported to us. Some we had to go to the farms and collect.
This is Lady. So she actually belonged to our neighbour who we're
she's
talking
from-
about. I kept on saying to him, what are we going to do with all these horses? And he kept on saying, don't worry, you know, it'll all go back to normal.
That was the idea. The
We-
horses
we
were
got
going to go
beef.
back.
This is Texas. So he was sort of farmers that had to leave. There was a lion farm, and a guy, they sort of sent these horses to this guy and said, listen, you know, feed them to the lions, we've got to go. And he phoned and said, I'm not feeding any horses to any lions. We had 6 evictions in the end because we moved with horses to one area, and then, you know, these uprisings would start. So every area was different.
We moved the horses to the areas that were still safe. So there were pockets of safe areas, but then eventually it all went in the end.
Yeah, because the land invasions, you know, they went from area to area. So we were already on the border in the town of Matari, and then that's, you know, the farms went.
More and more people came to our aid. For example, farmers were great. They would bring grass to us and things like that, especially at the end, because we ended up with literally hundreds and hundreds of horses. We would go to the border, load up these trucks, and all the paperwork would be stamped by the immigration and customs, bearing in mind that they were not government supporters. And then, but they put politicians at the gate. So we'd get to the gate and they'd turn us back. And we did that so many times. So in the end we thought, well, there's only one way, we've got to pay our way through, you see. So on the Zimbabwean side, we found somebody who would dish out money, you see, on the way. And we loaded him with money, and we got 3 truckloads. So that was sort of what we ended up managing to get out. There was 18 on each truck. And we lined them all up, and off we went. And he was to pay each guy, you see, who was going to cause political nonsense. And we sailed through, got to the other side, and he'd paid no one. Got them through scot-free.
The couple had to leave behind the legacy they'd been building, but it seems they were about to begin another. Their new home in Vilanculos in Mozambique not only provided a safe haven for the animals, but also brought Mandy and Pat renewed joy and fulfillment, transforming their troubles into a story of hope and a happy ending, making it all worth it.
We saved them, but I think at the end of the day, they've saved us, you know, just by starting a business for us.
So you're probably wondering what the couple eventually did with the 104 horses they managed to bring across the border. Well, they successfully set up 2 businesses, Mozambique Horse Safaris and East Africa Safaris. Their son Jonathan made the best of Mozambique's beautiful waters by starting up Vilanculos Canoe Safaris. Mandy and Pat's story shows that selflessness, courage and resilience, no matter the cost, will always triumph over hardship and tragedy, especially when your heart is in the right place. Whatever your circumstances, it's never too late to make that change and do whatever it takes to live a better life. More inspiration when we come back. Welcome back. On Second Chances, we hear from people who have beaten the odds and survived adversity. They've made the bold decision not to let their struggles hold them back and have instead chosen to uplift themselves and others by sharing how they've managed to overcome. It's not easy giving up your home comforts to embark on an adventure in a different country, especially in your 50s. But that didn't stop Steven Kotsa, who uprooted his entire life and moved from St. Francis Bay in South Africa to Mozambique to pursue his dream at the age of 57. On Second Chances today, we bring you Steven's brave and inspiring story. In early 2023, Steven Kotsa left his 30-year-old business and his life in St. Francis Bay for the breathtaking sights of Mozambique, where he now offers boat tours to visitors, a lifelong dream that finally came true for him.
It's just basically me, my son, and one or two helpers, and my boat, Mamlambu. Everyone knows me better as Mamlambu. I've always wanted to go on adventures, and you hear of the ships that had sunk and the Portuguese sailors, and Mozambique was a very close destination. Not much has changed. It's still pretty much got that laid-back vibe. Mozambique stays the same. I think that's what keeps it special, is because of those little challenges. And I've always wanted to secretly have a lifestyle like this, like I think many people do. You know, a beautiful island, you picture yourself taking clients, doing charters. And you know, our last children, I have three beautiful daughters, but it's always a concern as a dad, you know, bringing them to a place, I guess you want the best for them. So I suppose I don't know if it was the right thing. Maybe it would have been better for them to grow up here, you know, I don't know. But I did what I thought was right, got them through school, they've done their varsity, my youngest is still at university, and that was our time to do something different. And when we saw the place in Vilanculos on the market, I thought to myself, what the hell? Let's go and do what we've always wanted to. There's a hospital, there's an airport. You have those amenities if you need them. So if you've got to get out of here quickly, you've got an airport close by, the hospital's great, you've got the islands. We've got a lifestyle here which I'm very blessed. We've given up everything, we live here. So when we leave, our house has probably a gap this big between the roof and the wall. You know, anyone can walk in, our doors open, and we leave the home like that. When you come back, it's all fine. We've had many instances on the roads here where we've broken down, you know, towing boats and trailers, and you never feel threatened.
It's easy to see why Steven fell in love with Mozambique's breathtaking beauty and pristine islands surrounded by turquoise waters. This East African gem offers a glimpse into a world where nature reigns supreme. Unlike the bustling modern cities, Mozambique retains a charming, rustic allure with hidden treasures waiting to be discovered.
Firstly, the people here are great. The people are wonderful. There's no racism, really. It's not experienced, not by me anyway. Everyone, if you're nice, if you like someone, you like someone, not based on skin color. And it's very safe. And kudos to Mozambique for that. You know, we don't have burglar bars, we don't have an alarm, totally different from South Africa, you know. Most people who've been here, look, the people who come here, you connect with them straight away because they got that adventurous spirit, otherwise they wouldn't be here.
The people here make it an ideal place to have that later on in life adventure.
Vilanculo is the third time now that we've come to Vilanculo, but the last time was 20-something years ago. And we love it here. It's not so much of a beach holiday, we feel. It's more of a boat trip to the islands, to the reefs. You should go on a boat trip.
It's the boat trip there. It's being on the island where there's nobody else, having a fantastic guide that shows you the odd things there which are not where everybody else goes to. My husband jumps off the cliff into the water just after we've seen sharks in the water.
We've been to other places in the world and this has been really, it's very special. There's a lot of fish, there's a lot of coral. The water's clean, you can see forever. And yes, it's just a nice trip to come and explore the islands and the ocean.
I've never seen a fish so big. I thought it was sharks. Steven says, no, it's GTs, look at them. But we had the sharks, the blacktip reef, and we had the turtles.
We love Mozambique and we will definitely come back.
You can do wild camping, you can, pack your camper van and travel and just stop just about anywhere, or you've got these really 5-star places that you can stay in. It's such a variety, it's amazing.
Steven's boat tours offer visitors an authentic taste of ocean life, exploring the magnificent coastline, coral reefs and secluded islands of Mozambique.
When you go snorkeling, there's just a few things to remember. That's a park, so there's no touching the stonefish. Have a look around. It's better not to touch anything. And then it's against the rules also to stand on the reef. So we're not allowed to stand on the reef. So you must just float, relax if you're tired. But the fish here is amazing. You're going to see a lot. There is seahorses around, but they're very hard to find. Margaroon's a better place for it. You pretty much always find them. And then dive down under the ledges. A lot of people don't take the time to go down. If you do, you can find the morays. I want to take people out there who want to really enjoy the fish and laugh, at someone else losing a fish. But for the guys who are into the real big marlin stuff, we've got a few legends there, like Dwight Ratu. But I'm into having a nice fun day with the family, or guys who just really enjoy being at sea.
But it hasn't all been smooth sailing. Steven and his boat tour business have survived 2 devastating cyclones.
We've had 2 bad cyclones the last 2 years. We had Freddie last year, and then a tropical storm developed into a cyclone the beginning of this year, which caused more damage than Freddie. So the town was hit very hard, our area, Vilanculos. So it does, 1 or 2 people lost boats, roofs were taken off. But there again, that's what keeps it special. It keeps it a place that's different. I think places, are becoming rarer to find in the world. It's not just pay and go. It's a little bit of exercise involved. It's a little bit of look how getting here. It was a bit of a story to get here. It's a 2-hour boat ride. This is an amazing island, but each island is unique. Bazaruto, it's got its charm. You can climb the dunes, which you can't do here. So from Bazaruto you get to see the mainland, the other islands around. There's a freshwater lagoon on Bazaruto with crocodiles in, which are freshwater, which is really amazing.
Steven believes that Africa is abundant with opportunities if you know where to look and are adventurous enough to take the plunge. Lynette Oxley has taken women's safety and empowerment to a new level. Her Girls on Fire campaign aims to make women more aware of the various threatening situations they could face and equips them to defend themselves and their families legally. She recalls the day nearly 10 years ago when the idea for Girls on Fire was sparked.
The idea got sparked, and I always think it's a journalist. It was at the Police Portfolio Committee speaking about firearms, and she said it's only old white men that's involved in firearms. And that night Girls on Fire was born, and it's grown. That was pre-2015, I think, and it's grown so much. I would have never imagined that we've been what we now. The way that we've grown since then. And I think that night we just started with the idea, calling it Girls on Fire, and it's grown significantly since then.
Lynette believes it's time for women to step out of the shadows, to stop being victims and take control of their freedom and safety. To do this, they need to have a fighting chance against criminals.
Women, when something happens, they say, just give them whatever they want. If you give them whatever they want, they will take whatever they want. And is it going to stop with you giving them your stuff? Is going to stop with them actually raping you or killing you or kidnapping? Because that's happening in South Africa right now. Actually, it's a worldwide thing that's happening. I just wanted women to feel empowered and change the way they think about their own safety and security. And that's basically where the idea has started. It's got many different components, and yes, firearms is part of it, but it's it's not the main thing. I want women to start changing the ways they think about themselves and empower themselves to know that they can do stuff.
And protect themselves. Lynette's career path has been a rather surprising one. What she initially studied and where she ended up couldn't be more different.
I studied library and information science, so I'm actually a qualified librarian.
Oh, well, be careful of your librarians is what I'm saying. You never know what they're trained to do.
So I met my husband at varsity. I was studying and he was involved in sport shooting. So I met him, went out shooting a couple of times, and then I started getting involved in sport shooting. I used to shoot something called International Defensive Pistol Association, IDPA. It's an international organization. And I started shooting that with my carry gun, which was not ideal. Since then, I became the first woman that became a safety officer instructor. There was only 6 in South Africa for IDPA specifically. So that is people that basically look after, and you become a safety officer, so you run a range, and then the person that trains that person is called a safety officer instructor. So I've gone through that. I've been involved in sport shooting for a long time. I enjoy shooting. It's a lot of fun. And my husband and myself do it together.
So is that your first date, shooting a gun?
No, it wasn't the first date. Probably yes. We used to come here a very long time ago. We've been married for a very long time. We were both at Rand Afrikaans University, and he started a shooting club there.
Lynette and her husband own a gun shop in Johannesburg, but her passion for firearms resides firmly at the range, where shooting happens purely for training and as a sport. She's adamant that firing a gun for protection should be a last resort.
So what we try and change the way people feel about themselves, and it's an empowering thing. They actually look at, and I never realized what was happening, but they look at the other ladies and they see empowered women doing things that women don't usually do. That's why all of my events, all my ROs, my range officers, all my staff are women, because I like them to other ladies to look at them and say, I can do this. And it's not we always say to us in all of our training that we do, as last resort is to take out your firearm. It's a responsible thing that you have to think about, last resort. So we go through the whole situational awareness thing, avoid. Think about what you're doing. And then in the end, if you have to, then you can defend yourself. So we're not gung-ho people that's just say go out and shoot people. That's not what it's about. It's about that passion of changing the way you look at yourself, that you're not sitting like this and in the corner and say, please just do to me what you want to do to me, but saying no. Speaking up, saying this is not right. I'm going to change my life. And I think we have changed a lot of ladies' lives. Do this. It's called the Rob Hall technique. It's a push-pull technique. It takes the recoil away. Okay, in your own time. Safety is off. Go for it. Get your weight behind. No, you're up. Your head is high.
Okay,
so get it. That red dot on the head of the popper for me, please. That's it.
During her time at Girls on Fire, Lynette has heard many terrifying and heartbreaking stories of survival.
One lady that told the story for the first time last year. I've known her for 2 years. And she's one of the happiest and one of my best range officers ever. And I knew she had a story, but she was ready to tell it last year. And the story was that she was married and her husband used to bring her hot chocolate every evening. Very nice of him. And he drank the hot chocolate and he raped her every evening, and she actually conceived her child out of this rape. Keshna, which is here today, is one of the ladies that I interviewed. She, in 2022, I think it happened, 13th of October. She was at home with her fiancé. They've got high walls. There was not much to steal. They were busy renovating the place, and 2 guys walked in, and her fiancé jumped in front of her. They took a kitchen knife out of her kitchen and they stabbed him in the neck. Keshna was stabbed 5 times. She fought back hard. That's why she's alive today. She didn't give up. They stabbed her dog, which is just as bad for me. I'm a very, very big animal lover. And I think she got stabbed here in the head. They missed one of her ribs, her lungs went in. And she survived, but her fiancé hasn't survived. And what is so nice about her story is that she's fighting back, but I can still, that is always going to be with her.
Yeah.
Excellent.
While Lynette is passionate about helping women empower and protect themselves, she does train many men in her personal capacity. And she hasn't forgotten about children either, having written a book that teaches them about gun safety.
Scrappy the Land Rover is the mascot, and he's got 2 friends, and it's all about teaching kids from about the age 3 to 10 about firearm safety. So the first book was about Mandla's birthday party, and somebody brings a firearm to the birthday party and gets it out of the bag, and Scrappy says, "Stop, don't touch," walk away and call a parent. And then we actually got a song written for that as well. We've got a Ghost of Girls and Fire song as well. The words, every time I hear the song, it's still exactly what I feel for the organization. I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm your sister, I'm your friend, I'm every woman. And that is basically, I wish safety and security for each and every woman out there. It doesn't matter where you come from, your education level, how old or young you are, each of us have it in ourselves to be able to protect ourselves.
The women who are part of the Girls on Fire tribe have nothing but gratitude and praise for Lynette.
Lynette has played a huge role. She was patient with me. She taught me all the tactics. She's been there for me. I appreciate everything that she's done for me.
She's empty.
She's like another mom to me. Absolutely love her household. They've done so much for me that I can't even describe the efforts and amount that they have put in to help me where I am today.
Lynette has been instrumental in my firearm journey and my training journey. When she first approached me to become a ranger officer and do the training with her, I was absolutely blown away by the opportunity, and I just said yes with all in. I was like, absolutely. And she has allowed me to find a lot more strength and confidence within myself as a woman to be able to train other women to defend themselves. Also, importantly, she is just someone who really gives her entire heart and soul. And I value that, and I value her friendship very, very dearly.
Lynette is an angel. I must say that she's a mommy to all of us here, and I must say that she exposes us in a lot of things. I mean, I've done the Glock Amara's course. It was through her. If it wasn't her, I wouldn't have done it. And I'm now getting my RO. Yes, I'm going to be a qualified range officer, so it's through Lynette. So she has done a lot. She sacrifices a whole lot for this ladies.
Lynette's been fundamental and instrumental in making this happen, in training all the ladies that are part of it, and just being a great role model to how strong women can be.
Okay, how do I look? Do I look like I'm ready? Do I look sharp?
You look
okay, do I look like I'm good to go?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then it was time for my first shooting lesson. And surprisingly, I didn't do too badly. So be warned, you don't want to mess with Uveka.
Don't mess with UV, that's all I'm saying.
If you found yourself wondering why certain things have happened to you or are on the brink of giving up on life, I really hope the stories you've seen today have given you the courage not to give up and to turn things around. Until the next time on Second Chances.